is ABC 12 News First at 4.
Welcome back. We begin here in our second half hour with local reaction to President Donald Trump's State of the Union address last night. It was the longest State of the Union address given by a president in history. The president touted his accomplishments and also doubled down on many of his policies that have become increasingly unpopular with many Americans. Joining us now is state legislator and chair of the Genesee County Democratic Party, Jasper Martis. And thanks so much for joining us, Representative Martis.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we want to also thank you for carving out some time just to be here on First at 4 today. We understand it's a busy day in Lansing with the governor preparing to give her final State of the State address. So thank you again. Did you watch?
Absolutely, but always have time for you.
Oh, thank you for that. Did you watch last night's State of the Union address?
I watched most of it. As you said, this was the longest State of the Union in history, bested only by the president. He has 4 of the 6 longest State of the Unions in history. And so I was able to watch most of it. But at a certain point last night, I either had to keep working or get to bed.
So what was your main takeaway from the parts of the president's address that you are aware of?
Yeah, well, obviously, with any State of the Union, there's going to be some nice honors for veterans and other heroes in the audience. But more broadly, it was a missed opportunity to acknowledge some of the pain and suffering that millions of Americans are dealing with. Millions of folks in Michigan and people in my district who are dealing with a crisis of affordability. When folks are dealing with costs rising and their wages not keeping up, you can show them all the graphs in the world that things are getting better. But if people don't feel it in their heart or in their pocketbook, they're not going to believe it because they're not living that. And so it was a lot of saying that everything is great, but from the folks that I represent and the folks that I talk to, it's a very different feeling on the ground.
So you was hoping that he would say more about the affordability crisis, as some calls it here in America. You know, he talked about his immigration policy. Were you surprised at all that he did not acknowledge the murders of Alex Pretty and Renee Good in Minnesota as part of his overall presentation about his immigration policy?
No, and that's because, I was raised by, a strong father and mother who taught me that it's okay to admit when you're wrong, and the president's never been able to admit when he was wrong, and it's his policies that have directly led to the deaths of those 2 Americans. And so you saw folks who have also been victims of those policies as guests of the State of the Union, whether it was folks who have been impacted by ICE, victims of Jeffrey Epstein that were in the audience, everyday Americans just struggling with rising costs. And so sometimes, as from one politician to another, it's okay to admit when you're wrong or that you need to do more. But again, the president has never shown that ability to have that grace.
And on the Democratic side, Governor Spanberger of Virginia, she delivered the response. It was pretty wide-ranging. She asked 3 poignant questions. Is he making life more affordable? Is he keeping Americans safe at home and abroad? And is he working for you? And her answer to those 3 questions was emphatically no. What do you think of the approach she took in the official response last night?
Well, number one, I would just say that I think she's a real rising star, not just in the Democratic Party, but on the national stage. I've been really impressed with what she's done, both in Congress, now as governor, number one. Number two, she was speaking to those reminders of what we need to be asking folks. When Reagan asked in 1980, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? That was not just a good campaign idea. It's a good governing philosophy, or at the time Reagan was a candidate, a good perspective to have, because you need to keep your finger on the pulse and you need to be hearing from folks. And affordability is the issue that we continue to hear about, whether it's housing, whether it's the cost of prescription drugs, whether it's the cost of groceries. This is an issue, any way you slice and dice it, the vast majority of Americans are dealing with. So I think Spanberger was smart to zone in, to focus in on that. She did that on her campaign, and then now she's doing that as governor and as a real rising national star on that affordability issue.
Representative Jasper Martis, chair of the Democratic Party of Genesee County, thank you so much for joining us today on what I'm sure is a very busy day in Lansing. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope that Iron Maiden gets into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and please, for everybody listening, continue to support the Genesee County Animal Control.
Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you.
We go now to Republican Congressman John Moolenaar, who attended President Donald Trump's speech last night and made the following statement in response to the speech. He says, quote, President Trump delivered a powerful message in recognition of our nation's 250th birthday and our renewed commitment to preserving the American dream for future generations. After struggling for years to make ends meet under the previous administration, the American people are finally starting to see relief, with inflation cooling from record highs and historic tax cuts for working families in Michigan. He goes on to say, the president spoke clearly about our work to secure investment into our nation and workers, reinvigorate American industry, bring in good jobs, and allow us to innovate. His address also emphasized the important work of our law enforcement agencies to secure our borders and remove criminal illegal immigrants from our communities. Thanks to President Trump's leadership abroad, the United States is stronger today than it was before he retook office, and our military is more capable than ever to deter our adversaries. Moolenaar added, in conclusion, I will continue my work with the Trump administration to advance policies that improve the lives of Michigan families and put our nation first. End of quote.